matchup for Gonzaga. And amazingly, is all the great accomplishments for Rick Barnes as a head coach, he has never beaten a #1 team. He's 0-6 lifetime. And Tennessee looking for their first win over a #1 team since they beat Kansas in January of 2010. And the opening tip controlled by the Vols. Starting 5 for Tennessee. Jordan Bowen with E. Pons, a really athletic, tough defender. Admiral Schofield, Grant Williams, Kyle Alexander in the middle. And a foul called. It's against Gonzaga.
Yves Pons is a freak level athlete. You know, he didn't even lift weights before he showed up. Look at the shoulders on him. He's a freshman.
Foul was on Zach Norvell Jr. of Gonzaga. Here is Schofield from the top, and he gets the day started with a 3.
He has continued to improve his range every single year. In fact, 4 straight games with at least 2 made three-pointers, so it's no longer just about that. Look at the hustle. That's the leadership that Tennessee has.
Schofield gets it for Tennessee.
We talked about Jordan Bowen getting to the elbows today. Rick Barnes mentioned that 3 or 4 times when we were talking to him. Needs to get to the elbows.
Jordan Bowen, the step back. And the offensive rebound. Kyle Alexander inside for Tennessee. Pons on the offensive glass. And E. Pons makes it 5-0 Volunteers.
And 2 offensive rebounds, though. And if you're Gonzaga, you've got to shore up your glass. If you lose the offensive rebound battle, you're going to take a loss in this game. That's an open back
call as Brandon Clark was established in the front court, never established himself in the back court to receive the pass.
We talk about Williams and Schofield, but I'll tell you what, one of the most improved players is Kyle Alexander. He's just puts himself in the right position. He's doing a nice job defensively, but offensively, he secured that offensive rebound, and then it was Pons' ability to come back and get it.
Rough start for Mark Few and #1 Gonzaga. As our officials, Bo Borowski, DJ Karstensen, and Rob Riley getting together to discuss this here. A minute 18 in, it's 5-0 Tennessee, and already the physicality, Sean, from the Vols asserting themselves, and now they'll correct the call. So they have changed the call.
Well, the reason why is there's no backcourt call when the ball hasn't even been thrown in. Right?
That's true.
It hasn't been established in the front court yet. How can you go backward? So they go ahead, give Gonzaga the ball. Inadvertent whistle is what they went with, and now they're moving in the right direction.
Here is Josh Perkins out top. Zach Norvell for Gonzaga. Rui Hachimura. Tipped out of bounds. Last touch by the Zags. As Gonzaga turns it over again. 3rd turnover already for Gonzaga.
A team that only averages about 11 turnovers per contest, and that's not a lot when they're playing at the offensive clip in which they are. I showed you earlier, averaging over 90 points per contest.
Tennessee forces more than 15 turnovers per game. Inside the seal to the bucket. Grant Williams, 7-0 Tennessee.
Mark Few said, hey, we've played against some really good bigs, and obviously Zion Williamson is one of those guys, but he said, we haven't played against the toughness and the strength of the bigs like we're going to see against Tennessee.
Allowed for Hachimura. Pittsburgh open, and a 3 gets Gonzaga on the board.
A really great pass considering where Hachimura was. He was underneath the backboard, didn't have a lot of options, falling out of bounds.
And a steal, here comes Zach Norvell for Gonzaga. Norvell in the bucket. And he can't finish in transition, out of bounds. It's a Gonzaga basketball.
Well, they've actually just reversed it and gone back to Tennessee. You know, live ball turnovers are going to be key because Tennessee does a great job getting back. They're going to extend out pressure. They're going to try to deny the wings and not allow Gonzaga to run. You've got to be able to convert those opportunities when you have them.
Tennessee been off since last Sunday when they hammered Texas A&M Corpus Christi. As Pons recovers. Admiral Schofield missing a corner three. And hustling for the loose ball is Kyle Alexander. Grant Williams from deep. He's knocking that shot down this season.
He's already made more three-pointers this season than he did all of last year. The reigning SEC Player of the Year. His stats are going to be even better at the end of this year than they are now, and they're already better than they were when he took home that honor. I mean, he is an individual that has come in to Knoxville, Tennessee, and continued to improve every single year.
First foul to Admiral Schofield. The Williams now 6 for 12 from three, and the only player in the SEC who's averaging over 20 points.
Yeah, you look at his plus minus, he has the best on the entire team at plus 25, almost 26 per game for Tennessee. He is a difference maker. He has to avoid foul trouble. The loss against Tennessee, remember, he spent most of overtime, actually all of overtime, on the bench watching.
Corey Kispert on the drive. And he missed the shot inside. Grant Williams clears. Tennessee looks to push. Filip Petrusev in the game. Early appearance for the Gonzaga big, the freshman from Serbia. He pawns the pull-up. And if he's giving you some offense, that makes it awfully difficult to defend Tennessee.
Very good at the defensive end. Very strong, very physical, can guard multiple positions. And then when you start getting some offensive production out of him, that opens up everything for those bigs.
The drop off, and Petrusev lays it in.
Gonzaga's a very good outside perimeter shooting team, but they do a lot of their damage, obviously, in the paint. Tennessee knows that. They're trying to collapse and force them to shoot tough twos outside of the paint and inside the three-point line.
Turn around. And Grant Williams now with 7.
Just all too easy. One pass, just reverse pivot and line it up.
Rui Hachimura the pull-up. And he pawns the rebound for the Bulls. Just the start that Rick Barnes wanted to see from his team. They're getting it done at both ends of the floor. Admiral Schofield attacks. And Hachimura the rebound. Gonzaga looking to run. Josh Perkins over to Norvell. Corner three. A long rebound tracked down by Perkins. Grant Williams the rebound for the Bulls. Jordan Bone maybe got away with a step. And now it's cleared by Gonzaga. Hachimura, 3.
I'm really surprised that Grant Williams was in position to put a hand up, and he didn't. Instead, he decided to duck underneath as Hachimura went up.
Kick out to Pons, and a 3. E. Pons just his 3rd 3 of the season. And Tennessee is up 9. Pons already with 7 points. He averages 4 a game. Corey Kispert from deep.
There's the Zags offense starting to pick up a little bit. But the problem is right now, they're just not getting any stops. They're allowing Tennessee to do whatever they want at their offensive end of the floor.
Couple of threes now for Kispert. Admiral Schofield powers his way inside.
Too strong. I mean, just ducks in and buried Norvell in the paint.
And a foul off the ball, and it's called against Kyle Alexander of Tennessee.
The reigning SEC champs, the Tennessee Volunteers, they said this year they don't have it in their mind that now they're the huntee. They still consider themselves the hunters. They're hunting down #1 right now. Seen a couple of posts up from Williams and Schofield, but they are 2 feet deep, catch and just finish right over the top, and there is nothing that Gonzaga can do about it. That's a huge concern if I'm Mark Few. Because you got to match their toughness. You got to match their level of intensity and their strength down low in the post. Otherwise, you got to start bringing doubles. And that's when you leave shooters wide open.
Jeremy Jones checks in for Gonzaga. So does Greg Foster Jr. as E. Pons on the glass for Tennessee.
He's going to be an absolute star at Tennessee. Now you see what he's capable of doing in flashes right now. As it becomes more and more consistent, it's going to be scary.
Here is Pons, lines it up. And the rebound, Grant Williams on the offensive glass. Pons, fade away. And Petrusev tracks it down for the Zags.
The thing about Grant Williams, too, when you watch him, he rebounds out of his area. He doesn't just get the rebounds that are right in front of him, like that last offensive board. He came out of nowhere to get it.
Hachimura underneath off the feed from Josh Perkins.
Love that post up from Hachimura, because it's exactly what Tennessee's been doing to them.
Pull up. Rattles out from Jordan Bone, cleared by Jeremy Jones, the transfer from Rice. Perkins attacks. Josh Perkins. And the rebound, Grant Williams again for Tennessee.
Ball's really not moving all that great right now for Gonzaga. It's one pass, back to the basket on that possession, take the turnaround, fade away, jump shot versus the ball movement we're seeing from Tennessee. They're getting ball reversal action, setting multiple screens, forcing Gonzaga to defend.
How much does Tennessee's defense have to do with disrupting Gonzaga's offense?
A lot. But also a little bit of it is impatience. You're trailing behind in the game right now. Haven't seen a lot of that this year for the Zags. I mean, they've had a couple of tough games. They got off to a slow start against Creighton. They had a win at the buzzer against Washington.
Nice pass, Josh Perkins. And Philip Petrusev to the line for Gonzaga. Tennessee leading here in Phoenix by 6. Number 7 against number 1.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Air Force Reserve. College tuition assistance is...
I think many people would have thought, but New Mexico State's a really good program. They're consistently winning 20-plus games. But that game in the Sprint Center, Deirdre Lawson got going in the second half. 18 points on 7 of 9 shooting. The Jayhawks will go into finals week leading up to that Villanova game, undefeated, ranked number 2 in the country. And if this score holds out, could be number 1 in the country.
Philip Petrusev at the line, the freshman 82%. So far the young season foul was on Grant Williams, his first.
I thought he played very well against Washington. Came into the game, had 9 points off the bench, but it was more so just his defense, his ability to be active around the rim.
Double figures already, 5 games for Petrusev this year. Tennessee by 5.
He just puts you in a spin cycle. Look how many screens they're looking to have to defend through.
Jalen Johnson in for the Vols. So is Derek Walker. Shot clock inside 10. John Fulkerson across the lane. Wild shot and a foul going for the rebound as Tennessee goes over the back. First on Jalen Johnson.
This is a lineup that concerns me a little bit for Tennessee. You don't have Jordan Bone on the floor. You don't have Grant Williams on the floor. Kyle Alexander isn't on the floor. So guys that are your stability guys that have been part of your program and understand how you want to play are off now against the number 1 team in the country. Tennessee, you got to get through this.
Illegal screen, offensive foul out top. Philip Petrusev called for his first. Second on Gonzaga. And also this lineup for Gonzaga, Sean, Josh Perkins and Rui Hachimura on the bench right now.
Yep. So this is basically a battle of the second teams for both teams at this portion of the game. Brandon Clark, he's got to get going.
Admiral Schofield the miss. Fulkerson the offensive rebound. And Fulkerson playing without the mask today. He had been wearing a protective mask for a broken nose, which he injured against Georgia Tech early in the season. He took it off in practice without it for the first time this past Wednesday. Philip Petrusev backing down Fulkerson. And a power move from Gonzaga.
Feeling like he has the advantage and just playing with great confidence.
Petrusev makes it a 3-point game. Fulkerson with the left hand gets the roll.
Fulkerson says, I don't need to bang into you to finish. I'm just going to shoot over the top of you.
Just past the midway point of this first half, and Tennessee is led from the outset. And a pretty reverse by Brandon Clark for his first points.
He really struggled against Washington, whether it was the 5 turnovers for the season, low field goal percentage. I mean, he wasn't himself.
Reach in. Corey Kispert called for the foul. His first.
Now, Brandon Clark, the transfer from San Jose State, was all Mountain West Conference and comes in and really has made a huge impact and has been a difference maker, especially with Tilly being out. He's got great length, great athleticism. Hasn't been able to put it on display so far this afternoon before that one. I mean, literally, you could look at the WCC right now and say that if Rui Hachimura wasn't on Gonzaga, that Brandon Clark potentially could be your favorite to be the conference player of the year in this young college basketball season. That's how good he is.
Pull up from Jordan Bone. And Hachimura clears.
Of course, then you could say that about Zach Norvell, too. And maybe even Josh Perkins.
The pull-up. Rui Hachimura with 7. And Gonzaga, from trailing by as many as 9 already, is within 1.
They can score in bunches.
Hachimura clears, and now Gonzaga looking for their first lead. And a travel called on Corey Kispert.
That just didn't jump stop with his feet underneath him. They were too close. His base was too narrow. Couldn't stop body control when he got a little nudge.
Gonzaga getting some stops. They made 5 of their last 7 from the field. And it's a 1-point game here with just over 8:45 left in the first half.
I thought Mark Few was dancing over there, but really he was just saying, hey, I think they might be setting some moving screens. I think he was just acting it out.
That or my guy got pushed, one of the two. These two coaches, Mark Few, Rick Barnes, go back a long way with one another. So much respect between two of them as Alexander has it stripped by Clark. Wave it off before the slam, which everybody enjoyed here in the building.
I enjoyed it.
Ian Pons called for the foul on the floor.
You and I saw this game pop up on our schedule, and I was like, this could be really good. Then the season started, I was like, this is going to be really, really good. And here we are. It is just fun to be here and look at two teams that legitimately have their sights set on making a Final Four run this year. Both of these teams have visions of winning a national championship. And with the way they've played early, you can understand why.
Kispert way off on the 3, and the rebound Alexander for Tennessee. Tennessee last year 26 wins, losing in the second round of the NCAA tournament to Loyola of Chicago. It's Clark to steal. Brandon Clark and Alexander called for the foul. Second on Kyle Alexander.
Right, I mentioned it, that Brandon Clark needed to assert himself in this game, and he has. Whether it's been a couple of steals defensively, jumping the passing lane, a little bit of a lazy pass, and a good strong attempt to go up and try to finish through Kyle Alexander. That was pretty clean up top.
The Phoenix native Brandon Clark. For a team that shoots free throws well, Gonzaga as a club 76%, but unfortunately, Clark doesn't shoot it well.
They had made their last 24 free throws before this afternoon's contest.
And they missed their first one today. Or rather, take it back. Petrusa did miss the first one. And now Gonzaga just 1 for 4 from the line as Clark missed both, just a 61% free throw shooter.
Scored from the free throw line down the stretch of that game against Duke, too.
And a foul called against Norvell, his second. Tight ball game in Phoenix. Tennessee by 1 over the Zags. The Havoc, they're getting ready for game 2 when they take on Nevada. Along with Sean Farnham, Roxy Bernstein, the pleasure of being joined by the Hall of Famer Jerry Colangelo. And congratulations on this wonderful event. What does it mean to you to have an event named after you and you get some of the best in college basketball here?
Well, I'm very involved with the Hall of Fame in many ways, and as chairman, etc. But, you know, anything to promote the game. And certainly here in Phoenix, my adopted home, where a lot of great things have happened in my life with various teams. And now with Grand Canyon, this is a big day.
And when you look down to the right of us, I mean, Grand Canyon isn't playing for another couple hours, and you've got about 5,000 students already here. The culture that's been built there, I know that's so important, especially your relationship with Dan Marley.
Yes.
How proud are you of where Grand Canyon has come in such a short period of time?
I'm proud of it because the people have bought into building the culture, and it starts with the president, Brian Mueller. But I will say that Dan Marley has done a fabulous job. And it's fun to be around young people when you get to be my age. So I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
First lead of the game for Gonzaga after the slam from Rui Hachimura.
And they go to the 2-3 zone, so they change up the defense, the man-to-man. They were getting sliced up a little bit, not getting the matchups that Mark Few wanted, but they gave up a wide-open three on the outside.
Jordan Bone gives Tennessee the lead again. And what do you think of this game?
Well, one of the things that was pretty evident, looking at the Tennessee players, they were men.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not young kids coming here to play basketball. And so, you know, as competitive as Mark Few's teams always are, this combination here is a terrific game, and it's going to go probably right down to the wire.
USA basketball and the NCAA now have all of a sudden, because of maybe some of the things that have gone on publicly in the last year,
Yes.
seemingly become more important. What is the role of USA basketball in the NBA and the NCAA in that triangle of relationship?
Well, first of all, you know, it's all one family, in my opinion, and everyone should be, and I believe are kind of working together as best they can. And I do agree with something that Coach K said not too long ago, that yes, there are issues, but it's more of a blip than it is like an overriding cancer in college basketball. I don't buy that either. There's too many good people involved on every level, and I just believe in the game and believe in the people in it.
You've been involved, Jerry, in this game for a long, long time. You've given so much to this game of basketball. Why is it important for you to stay involved and keep giving?
You know, when you're blessed with maybe a little bit of ability and then a passion for something like I have in my lifetime, I owe everything to the game and would do anything for it to continue to support it. So I feel blessed to have the opportunity to do all of that.
The fan base of the Gonzaga Bulldogs fired up here as Brandon Clark continues to assert himself in this game. This building, though, is really special to you.
Well, it is because, you know, I built it, had it designed, and know every inch of this place, and have a lot of great memories. But before I'm finished, I want to be able to say something about these two coaches. I have nothing but great respect for Rick Barnes and Mark Few. Know them both personally, and they've done a great job for the game and their particular programs and for college basketball as a whole.
Jerry Colangelo with us here at the inaugural Air Force Reserve Jerry Colangelo Classic at Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix, home of the Phoenix Suns, and of course the impact that you've had on this community as well. But where the game is right now, the NCAA game, Jerry,
yes,
where do you think it is?
I like the game a lot. I would say that I fall into the category of I like to see the game speeded up. I believe it's poetry in motion. I believe in fluidity of the game, and I'm not a guy who likes slowdown in any regard. And the rules really prevent that from happening. But I think the game was meant to be played with a particular flair, and I think the college game is becoming more and more like that.
And a great job, by the way, on that last possession. Grant Williams posting up and just ducking in the middle of the paint. He's just too strong, and he's done that multiple times early in this game. Gonzaga's got to do a better job initiating contact early and not allowing him to establish his position so deep.
I agree, and that's easier said than done. When you look at those shoulders,
He could be a football player.
you give it a shot.
I've been working out a lot lately, and there's no chance.
I got it.
Even in my heyday, Jerry,
Yes.
I couldn't be able to stop him from posting
Yes.
up. That's why he's the SEC rating conference player of the year.
There you go.
And he's the favorite again this year.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about both these programs. You mentioned Rick Barnes in
Yes.
particular. Coach Barnes does this without the flair of the one and done. And it's truly remarkable about both these coaches is the developmental process of the game.
And that's a part of the game that should become more and more important. You know, the development of the individual players. you know, Mark Few's philosophy of not getting top 25 guys necessarily, but he gets players who are going to be there 2-3 years, maybe all 4 years, and then he gets a couple of international players. It works well for him. He develops his players. Rick's doing the same.
How does the international influence continue to evolve and globalize the sport that we love?
Big time. You know, we taught the world the game. They loved it. They've made great contributions to the game. The preponderance of NBA players coming from European and South America just says it all. And many college rosters now have international players. Big impact. Big impact.
And just look at these rosters as Rui Hachimura from Japan. We have Serbia, we have France represented on both sides.
I'm looking for Italy. I haven't seen any of them.
That's game 2.
No,
Stick around.
Joe Tessitore was on last night doing the boxing fight. He'll be on Monday Night Football.
Got it.
That's your guy from Grand Canyon. He's coming up next.
Yeah, Alessandro Lever.
1 point lead for Gonzaga as Jalen Johnson missing a 3.
You have to give Gonzaga credit for coming back. They could have been buried pretty early here in this game, the way Tennessee was shooting the ball.
How important do you think games like this are in our game? I mean, so often now, you don't have necessarily these marquee matchups early in the season. I think college basketball's done a much better job in the last 2 or 3 years to provide the type of matchups like we're seeing here today, like we saw over in Maui, obviously, when Duke played Gonzaga, and of course next week Villanova, Kansas. These are the matchups fans want to see that open up our sport and draw people in.
No question. It's not only good for the fans, it's good for these programs to get ready, because what is it all about? They want to get somewhere, you know, at the end of the year in terms of the tournament. How better to be prepared than playing top caliber talent during the course of the season?
Shot clock winding down. Rui Hachimura.
Seen him make that
14.
shot. I mean, that's the same shot he made over Washington. You cannot allow him to set a screen and just step right into the free throw line and line it up. He's automatic.
What do you think of his game, Jerry?
I like him. He's really developed, you know, over the last few years. His game's come a long way.
So fun to watch. Both these teams are, the way they're getting after it here in the first half. As John Fulkerson, the block shot. Again, coming up next, Nevada and Grand Canyon, game 2 of our doubleheader here at the Jerry Colangelo Classic. How much you looking forward to game 2?
I am, very much so. It would be
I'm stunned.
A great statement game for our program if we were to be successful against a really good Nevada team.
Obviously talking about Grand Canyon, as here comes Perkins for Gonzaga. Corey Kispert, 3. Third 3 for Kispert, and Gonzaga from down 9 has opened up a 6-point lead.
You take a look at what we've seen so far. Josh Perkins passing John Stockton. That's a name you like to pass on a career assist mark. The throw ahead and the finish from the outside. Simple and beautiful basketball. Jerry Colangelo, thank you for joining us, sir.
Thanks for being here, guys.
How did you come into?
A while ago on that list earlier in this game, but it's also the fouls. He got in foul trouble early against Washington, and without Crandall, you don't necessarily have that true point guard to be from behind, and he's the artist. I mean, when your coach describes you as an artist and says every game is a blank canvas, go ahead and paint. And Josh Perkins is a young man that struggled with maturity early in his career. I asked him yesterday, I said, okay, Josh, when did it finally hit you? And he goes, really not until we made that run to the national championship. It was during that Final Four run, and we had great leaders beforehand, but I necessarily didn't see all the leadership that they showed during that period of time. And since then, I've tried to shoulder the load and be the kind of quality of leader that the Gonzaga program demands.
Foul called against Gonzaga.
Gonzaga foul is on 21.
First on Rui Hachimura. Let that register for a second, what you said about Josh Perkins. He passed John Stockton on the all-time assist list in Gonzaga history today.
Pretty good name. I asked him, I said, does it have any significance to you? And he goes, of course. John Stockton was instrumental in my continued development as a basketball player. his name and his place in this sport, in particular on an assist list, matters. He goes, but really what it tells me is I've got some really good teammates around me, and he has over the course of his career.
Corner three off the mark from Jordan Bowden. So Gonzaga scored 6 straight, opened up a 6-point lead after trailing by 9 early in this game. And the passing crash and the offensive foul on Jeremy Jones of Gonzaga.
Yeah, you're going to kick that out. You got to jump stop and deliver it crisp. You can't leave your feet. Grant Williams does an excellent job sliding over into position. I don't know what I'm more excited about, this game and how well it's been played, and Gonzaga's, their toughness, their resiliency to respond from that early deficit. And the fact that halftime, it's literally Seth and Jay Will alone in the studio.
And we get to hang with Jerry Colangelo.
Well, you do. Eric Lockenbach's right here.
That's true. And so is Bill Frieder sitting right here, the coach.
Bill Frieder. Sean McDonough's here. They showed everybody last night at the boxing match. They had Triple H, Holly Rowe was there, Kirk Herbstreit. We should have one of those celebrity cams going around this building.
Tracy Morgan was there last night.
Gonzaga fouls on 15.
Brandon Clark, his second foul. So some fouls mounting, 2 for Clark, 2 for Norvell for Gonzaga.
And here's what's happened, though, in this game. So Tennessee's not shooting the ball nearly as well as it did earlier in the first half. Okay, well, Sean, that's clear, and that's why they're no longer winning the game. Yeah, but what it has done is it has allowed Gonzaga to get out in transition. When the Zags were having to take the ball out of the net, Tennessee could set up their defense and really limit the transition looks for Gonzaga. Now in the latter stages of this first half, the Zags are rebounding a little bit better. They're spacing the floor. They're forcing Tennessee to start to have to chase a little bit at the defensive end.
They've changed the last foul. It's not on Clark, so he still has 1. And they've given the first to Josh Perkins. It's John Fulkerson of the line, the sophomore from Kingsport, Tennessee. And he pulls the balls to within 4. Tennessee in some foul trouble as well. Admiral Schofield has 2. Kyle Alexander has 2. E. Pons has 2. And Pons played very well to start this game. There's Grant Williams, the rebound for Tennessee inside the final 2 minutes of this opening half. Some unexpected offense from E. Pons helped get Tennessee going, and they've sputtered a little bit since.
E. Pons, who worked with Rico Hines, a former teammate of mine, who's one of the best in basketball at skill development. And they worked on reading the game, and he felt like that really helped him improve in the offseason prior to getting to Tennessee.
Perkins weaving his way in, and Fulkerson clears for Tennessee. Then a foul, and that's 2 on Perkins.
And that's a frustration foul from not being able to finish the shot. I mean, he had great poise and composure as he hesitated and changed pace, and he misses the shot. No need to foul him. You've got 1, you've got to be smart. And as he reached in, you could see him pull his hands out because he knew that he shouldn't be in that position.
So without Gino Crandall, who's still out, Gonzaga hoping to get him back for conference play. Without Killian Tilly as well, the Zags. As John Fulkerson now 3 for 3 at the line. And Tennessee a little bit shorthanded as well. Still without Lamonte Turner, who's been bothered by that shoulder issue, which has plagued him since really surgery after last season.
Had a frustrating day shooting around yesterday too, and a couple turnovers, and Coach Barnes talking about it. And what I loved was seeing leadership from Williams as well as Schofield saying, hey, we can't have that tomorrow. We got to value the basketball. We're playing against the #1 team in the country.
Second foul on Brandon Clark, and free throws for Tennessee.
Gonzaga fouls on 4.
Fouls mounting for the Zags late here in the first half, and some foul difficulty for Mark Few. And free throws again for the Volunteers with just over a minute left in the half. Grant Williams at the line, 79% for the junior from Charlotte. He's 1 for 1 at the line today. Early season leading scorer and second leading rebounder in the SEC. As Rick Barnes talking things over with the refs. Grant Williams, double figures in each of Tennessee's 7 games this year. Already 4 20-point games on the year. He's got 10 so far in this one. Also 6 rebounds already for Williams. One more coming. So one more for Grant Williams as Gonzaga clinging to a 2-point lead. No junior in college basketball has attempted more free throws in his career than Grant Williams, who knocks both down, and it's a 1-point game. Rui Hachimura, 14 points, lead all scorers here in the first half. Greg Foster Jr. handling point guard duties with Perkins on the bench. Now a zone from Tennessee. Tough shot for Hachimura. And now Williams clears, and Tennessee can just about play for the final shot of the half and try to get the lead going into the locker room. Tennessee has gone over 4.5 minutes without a field goal yet, have a chance to take the lead here. Williams goes to track it down off the deflection. 5 to shoot for the Vols. Bowden, tough three. Over Kispert. That's a 2. They'll check it as time runs out in the first half, and Jordan Bowden gives Tennessee the lead at the half, and a late huge bucket for the Volunteers. They're going to review it to see if it is a 2 or a 3, as Jordan Bowden, the pull-up off the dribble. And regardless if it's a 2 or a 3, Tennessee will have the lead at the half. Get our day started of this doubleheader as number 7 Tennessee leads unbeaten number 1 Gonzaga by 1 at the half. Along with Sean Farnham, Roxy Bernstein with you. And for Tennessee, Sean, they closed the first half out on a 7-0 run. They were down 6, up 1, leading by as many as 9 early. It's been a fun first half. And the guys you talked about at the top of the show really have stepped up.
Grant Williams was the reigning player of the year in the SEC, and he played like it in the first half, and he controlled this game. Look at how his positioning sets up his teammates. He leads them in scoring. He's got 12 points on the game. He's grabbed 7 boards. That's also best on the team. And he's got 3 assists, also best on the team. I don't know. He's a Renaissance man. He plays the violin. He does the piano. I'm not sure if he did that at halftime, but he was all everything for the Volunteers. And meanwhile, a player who didn't score maybe had the largest impact in the first half for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, and that's Josh Perkins. The artist, as I will call him for the remainder of his career, the final couple times that he plays for the Gonzaga Bulldogs that I'm on the call, he's always going to be the artist. 6 assists, 0 turnovers. He's done an incredible job facilitating, and that's the unselfishness. You want elite level offense in college basketball? How's these numbers? 83% assist to made field goal rate for Tennessee in the first half. 62% assist to made field goal rate for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They are sharing the ball and making their teammates better. That's why we have such a great game.
First half stats presented by the Basketball Hall of Fame. And this inaugural Jerry Colangelo Classic in Phoenix, home of the Phoenix Suns, Talking Stick Resort Arena.
That's
and
easy
a 1-point lead.
Talking Stick Sports Arena. Right?
That's why you got to Talking Stick Resort.
Yeah, Talking Stick.
Get the resort in there. That's
Resort Arena. Yeah, I've got to work on that.
Zach Norvell scoreless in the first half also. Yes, it did.
Yeah.
As Gonzaga reclaims the lead with Brandon Clark.
Good execution, doing something early in the paint. Brandon Clark establishing his presence. Has not blocked a shot in this game, and he's one of the elite level shot blockers in the country.
Averages 3.5 a game. And speaking of shot blockers for Tennessee, Kyle Alexander on the offensive end. His first points. Inside to Clark. And Brandon Clark, who got off to a slow start, is starting to assert himself early in the second half.
Yeah, but how about the pass? I mean, the finish is nice, don't get me wrong. It was a contested shot from 2 feet away, but threading that pass right down the seam by Josh Perkins.
Grant Williams leading Tennessee with 12. 7 from E. Pons, an unexpected offensive source for the Vols in this game.
Yeah, I mentioned 6 assists at the break. Come out and start the second half. Go ahead and get a couple. And yeah, just threading it right over the top, knowing exactly where only Brandon Clark can get it. And you're throwing that off the dribble to the top of Kyle Alexander. He's 6'10".
Perkins averaging over 8 assists a game, which is second in the country coming in. And he's already got 8. Deep three on the way. Admiral Schofield for the offensive rebound. Grant Williams blocked by Clark. Here comes Corey Kispert for the Zags. Kispert blocked from behind, but a foul will put Corey Kispert at the line. Third on Kyle Alexander.
First of all, Grant Williams got away with a push, and it could have easily been called. I mean, there was a shove in the back of Clark to get himself the position, and then Clark gets the block shot there, and it's Kispert out in transition. Had numbers, floor spacing. And Kispert very strong in the first half. He had 9 going to the break.
3 threes in the first half, now with 10.
I loved Corey Kispert last year, and then he took that ankle injury in the non-conference. He's tweaked his ankle on a lob early in the season, and he kind of lost a little bit of his mojo. And part of that was because Snacks, Zach Norvell, came in and just took off. And this year, he's finding himself once again. Look out! Oh my goodness!
The rim!
Are you kidding me, Roxy?
Brandon Clark!
Yes, thank you. Foul. Show me the replay, Mr. Bach.
Second on Grant Williams. We got to see this again.
You want to talk about elite level athleticism. Brandon Clark, as I mentioned, one of the best shot blockers in the country. Oh! Erase at the rim. Oh my goodness.
Over a tremendous athlete in E. Ponce.
Look at the height. Guess what? You're going to see that on Sports Center.
Now let me ask you this.
Woo!
You saw the dunk from Yoli Childs.
That's better.
BYU yesterday.
That's better than Childs' dunk. Childs' dunk yesterday for BYU was phenomenal against Utah. But that is a defensive player against an elite level athlete, meeting them at the pinnacle.
How about 2 straight days we could see the West Coast Conference having the #1 play in SportsCenter's top 10.
On an NFL football Sunday, by the way.
Brandon Clark on the offensive end.
We'd like to welcome you all to the Brandon Clark Show. We're glad that you're in attendance. I mean, what a start to the second half. This is fun. Are you kidding me?
#1 Gonzaga, 2 minutes in. Has opened up a 5-point lead, then Clark saves it. Josh Perkins, he was looking for Killian Tilly, found him on the bench.
Well, no, he was looking for Norvell, but the official tripped him. If this was a football game, that would be tripping. That's a penalty, and replay the down. I mean, the official, come on, get off the floor. You can't be tripping players. That's good defense, though. Rick Barnes appreciates it.
Guys in stripes aiding. But I got to say, Killian Tilly in his defense was open.
Yeah, but for Zags fans, they want to see him open in a uniform.
They're hoping for the beginning of conference play.
Great job getting the ball exactly where Grant Williams wants it. He'll work that center area of the zone and just able to finish over the top. And I'm telling you, you look at this Gonzaga team and all they've accomplished so far this season and how many weapons they have as Norvell scores.
His first points of the game.
They're missing 2 of their top 7.
How will that affect them when Crandall and Tilly come back?
Well, they'll just continue to beat people, and maybe by a larger margin. I mean, these guys are very good players. I mean, Perkins can't step off the floor. He gets no rest right now because you can't afford to put him on the bench. And then Tilly is arguably their best 3-point shooter from the corner, that's for sure. It's going to be scary how good this Gonzaga team is.
Grant Williams rattles out. Rui Hachimura clears. Hachimura spinning inside and a walk. Turnover for the Zags.
Mark Few will take the walk. He didn't want the charge. Hey, think about this. I mean, you and I have been around the West Coast Conference for a while, and we've seen some of Mark Few's best teams. I was there when they had the big cake, when they were #1 in the country for the first time in program history. They've had some unbelievable starts to the season, unbelievable runs. This team has the potential to really be better than them all and to finally bring it home. And when I say bring it home, I'm not talking about anything other than a national championship in Minnesota at the end of the season.
They were awfully close 2 years ago, and it was right here in the Valley of the Sun as Zach Norvell hits the deck but gets the bucket. Largest lead for #1 Gonzaga.
Snacks on his birthday, starting to feast in the rim.
Admiral Schofield And the rebound, Kispert, Gonzaga pushing. Transition three. Admiral Schofield clears, here come the balls. Jumper missed by Jordan Bowden. The offensive glass. Schofield can't convert inside. Grant Williams the offensive rebound. Admiral Schofield.
Just great interior passing once again by Grant Williams, knowing where Schofield is. But not all plays are created equal, Roxy Bernstein. Oh, Brandon Clark, that block shot has led and spurred the Gonzaga Bulldogs here in the second half. Oh my goodness. Countdown, Boog, Witt, and I. Joe Tess.
Where's Joe Tess hiding today? He's not hiding, and he loves it down here in the state of Arizona. As Mark Few, an amazing run, now to his 20th season at Gonzaga. Also 10 years as an assistant prior to becoming the head coach. And their first Final Four in school history was here 2 years ago. They beat South Carolina to get to the championship game in a tough loss to North Carolina. But the win that maybe started it all for Gonzaga to become the power that they've become was in this building under Dan Munson when they went to Elite Eight right here.
Casey Calvary.
Yes, the tip-in by Casey Calvary.
Unbelievable. You think about Mark Few, third winningest percentage as a head coach in the history of college basketball. He is ahead of John Wooden. Just let that sink in just for a second.
So Perkins has passed Stockton. Few's now ahead of Wooden as Hachimura throws it away. They beat Florida in this building to get to that Elite Eight with Casey Calvary's tip-in. Number 1 Gonzaga up 5 on the 7th-ranked Bulls. Look at Tennessee, Auburn, Mississippi State's off to a great start.
Yeah, and I think there's other teams in the SEC this year that are going to continue to climb. I think LSU is going to find themselves some disappointing outcomes down in Orlando. But the substance of the league, as we talked about so frequently in the first half, is with Tennessee and Auburn. I mean, those are the two teams that returned the most from a season ago. The shiny toys are with Kentucky. They're disjointed right now. They're not playing their best basketball. They struggled at home against UNC Greensboro. They lose against Seton Hall yesterday. I think Knoxville is going to be the home this year that you've got to try to win it if you want to take home the crown in the SEC.
Jordan Bone missing a three. Admiral Schofield in the offensive glass. And Brandon Clark the rebound for Gonzaga as Tennessee has gone cold to start the second half.
Well, the difference right now is Brandon Clark is trying to match the intensity that we've seen from Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield.
Brandon Clark picks it up, scoops it in, and Gonzaga's matched their largest lead.
Just a difference maker right now on the floor is Brandon Clark. He has come out of the locker room and he has found himself.
8 of his 13 since halftime.
Now, if you're looking at Tennessee, okay, how do you get back into this game?
That'll help.
That helps, but they need to continue to play through their post. When they've got the ball inside the paint and then had kickouts, they're shooting better than 50% on the game. And so that usually means you're putting the ball in the hands of Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield.
Jordan Bowden knocked in the big three. Wide open Norvell. Way off on the three, but Brandon Clark inside. And a kick out. The pull-up from Rui Hachimura. 16 for Hachimura. And his first points of the second half.
That is all based, though, on Brandon Clark's ability to get that offensive rebound. Maintain possession. Tennessee early in the game was really doing a great job getting on the offensive glass. They had 7 offensive rebounds in the first 8 minutes. And then down the stretch in the final 12, they didn't have one.
Foul called against Gonzaga as Alexander was pushed by Rui Hachimura.
And Clark just gets and fights into the weak side. Alexander was standing too narrow straight up, and then a little pass fake, step in. And one of the favorites for the Wooden Award knocks it down from the free throw line.
Second foul on Hachimura. As Gonzaga 7 for 10 from the floor. In the second half, the Vols only 4 of 16. Tennessee led by as many as 9 in the first half of this game. Admiral Schofield, the top pull-up.
He is such an elite-level leader. And you go to practices and you watch him, he is vocal, he holds his teammates accountable, and thus he expects that out of himself as well.
Clark the pull-up. And it's cleared by Kyle Alexander.
They're stringing together some stops now for Tennessee. I want to get the ball in the paint at the elbow free throw line area at least once in this possession if I'm the Bulls. Grant Williams is there.
And an illegal screen. It's on Grant Williams, his third. Turnover by Tennessee. Next Saturday, college basketball on ESPN as Villanova travels to Fog Allen Fieldhouse to take on number 2 Kansas in a Sonic blockbuster. Noon Eastern, also available everywhere on the ESPN app.
This is college basketball this year. Sit back and enjoy it. We talk about college football. Every week matters. The way that teams have scheduled this year, we talked about this with Jared Talento, you're getting a lot of top matchups like we're seeing this afternoon between 2 of the best teams in the country. 2 teams that have a vision of winning a national championship at the end of the year.
Admiral Schofield a pull-up three.
How about that? Come on, Admiral Schofield.
And we have a 1-point game inside 12 minutes to go. Drop off. At the rim. Grant Williams.
It's a block party in Phoenix today. I got invited. SantaCon was yesterday. Did you know that? There's a bunch of people dressed up as Santa running around Phoenix, Arizona. I have no idea what that was.
Just you.
But I do know what this is. This is high-level basketball. This is a Final Four right in front of you. Physical of a player that you will find in college basketball this year. Just unbelievable instincts of knowing where he is out on the floor. We mentioned the front court and how this battle would play out because it is the strength of both of these rosters. Right now, 29-12 combined between Clark and Hachimura. 26-13 between Williams and Schofield. And we've got ourselves a 1-point game.
Brandon Clark rolls the first one in. Now 2 for 4 at the line. 14 points for Clark, and most of his damage coming here in the second half. And a problem for Tennessee as Clark gets his own miss. Goes right back to the rim.
That is inexcusable if you're Tennessee. Nobody puts a body on the shooter and allows him to spin off. And then not only after that, there's nobody stepping to him as he dunks it.
Grant Williams, foul on the floor, wave off the shot. Foul on the floor against Gonzaga.
This is youth basketball 101. Okay, who's got the shooter? I got the shooter. Oh, wait, nobody's got the shooter. That was really on Pons. Yves Pons did not box out. He put a hand on Clark's shoulder and then allowed him to get that rebound and step in.
Foul against Brandon Clark, his third.
And see, that's the freshman, right? That's somebody that's first time getting significant minutes for Pons is his sophomore year. You've got to be able to really step in and make them uncomfortable. You've got to understand that possession, that one possession, that one box out could be the difference of winning this game or losing this game.
The problem for Tennessee is that Kyle Alexander now has 4 fouls, so he is on the bench for a little while as Admiral Schofield way off, chases down his own miss, and then gets the roll off the heel of the rim.
Okay, so I guess there's a new rule. You don't box off any of the shooters in this game.
It's contagious, clearly.
Schofield just came in and basically just did the same thing from the 3-point line.
He's been playing very well as of late for the ball. Schofield now with 14. Deep three from Zach Norvell Jr. Tennessee clears.
What a great game.
For the lead. Tipped out, and Williams near midcourt, and a reset for Tennessee.
Smart play by Fulkerson. He wasn't going to be able to grab that with 2 hands. You tip it out and give your team a chance.
Yves Pons from deep. And the rebound controlled by the Zags.
I thought he had Grant Williams standing right in front of him. Should have dropped it off and then relocated to find a better shot.
Great hustle as Hachimura trying to get it in to Petrosev. And it stays with Gonzaga.
Now to show you Brandon Clark getting his shot at the free throw line. Admiral Schofield, he knows this one is off as soon as his feet touch the ground. And look at him follow it and make sure that he got the offensive rebound and then finished.
The shooter always knows where it's going. Zach Norvell Jr. corner 3. his first 3 of the game. Out of bounds. Belongs to the Bulldogs.
But one of the things they talked about in shoot-around all day yesterday for Tennessee was we cannot allow Norvell or Kispert to get their feet set underneath them. I mean, they said 23-24, 23-24, the entire shoot-around. They've done an outstanding job on Norvell all afternoon, right up until that one.
As Norvell was scoreless at the half.
It's his birthday today. I asked him, I said, they call you snacks. What's your favorite snacks for your birthday? He said, cookies. So what kind of chocolate chips?
Rui Hachimura. Blocked by John Fulkerson. Then Fulkerson secures it.
The paint is not for the weak or the weary this afternoon.
Well, that's clearly been established. Inside to Fulkerson. And a foul on Rui Hachimura, and that's his 3rd.
There may not be a better post-entry passer in college basketball than Grant Williams. Grant Williams, especially as a big, has the ability. He steps out wide. He delivers the pass beautifully. Time and time again.
John Fulkerson at the line.
Roxy, I don't think the Gonzaga fans here believe that that was a foul.
What gives you that impression?
Well, they booed loudly.
Okay. Fulkerson now 3 for 5 at the line. 14 each from Admiral Schofield and Grant Williams to lead Tennessee.
Well, Petrusev comes back in the game, and he had a very successful stint in the first half.
And a lane violation against Gonzaga gives another free throw to Fulkerson.
And it was on Petrusev. He stepped in early. I'd step in early, too, if I'm trying to box out Admiral Schofield. Look at Admiral Schofield talking at the free throw line right now, looking at Norvell.
Loose ball, and it's Norvell for Gonzaga.
Well, Schofield and Norvell are talking a little bit right now. I love it.
Deep 3 again, and Norvell goes back-to-back. Largest lead for Gonzaga. Corey Kispert the rebound. Kispert lost the handle. Out of bounds, Tennessee ball. As Kispert was on the end line.
He's just going too fast. You know, it's like a wide receiver that's trying to catch the ball, and as the ball's coming, he's looking upfield to see where he can run with it. Kispert on that one was looking to attack before he even caught the ball, which is why he never had it in his hands.
8 straight for Gonzaga to go up 8. 8:42 to go. Now the Zags switch up to his own.
You got to get the ball in the high post.
Loose ball picked up, and Admiral Schofield gets the bucket. Right place, right time.
They often are. And that's what makes this tandem so unique.
Smart veteran team that requires help. Josh Perkins missing. Brandon Clark. The offensive rebound. Petrusev steps out. Gets his own miss and crashes into the key and a charge. Offensive foul as Schofield held his position.
Schofield and Williams are a coach's dreams. They're the best players on the team, and they sit there and they take charge after charge after charge. They dive on for the floor for every loose ball. When your best player are also your hardest workers, it becomes infectious. And that's part of what's gone on as Schofield and Norvell continue to talk to each other. I mean, this is fantastic. Be patient here on this possession.
Pass deflected by Perkins. Williams recovers. Admiral Schofield launches, and Schofield a 3. 19 for Schofield, his third three. And it cuts the Gonzaga lead in half. Zach Norvell. Back and forth we go, one a game in Phoenix. In and out from Jordan Bone. He paused the rebound, but he traveled. 6-point game, just over 7 minutes to go.
There's been a lot of talking back and forth. Admiral Schofield jawing with Zach Norvell. He says, I got your three right here. Tennessee getting back into it. Norvell says, I'll see you, and I'll match you at the other end.
And this has been a back and forth, intense battle between two top 10 teams going at it, such high-level hoops here in early December.
Well, and I go back to Grant Williams. He is just 3 assists shy of a triple-double. He's got 14, 11, and 7 assists in tonight's game. I mean, just tremendous high-level basketball out of Grant Williams.
Admiral Schofield leads Tennessee with 19. 16 each from Brandon Clark and Rui Hachimura to lead Gonzaga, although Hachimura's been quiet here in the second half. And he draws the foul. We'll get to the line. Foul is on Schofield, his third.
A design coming out of the timeout, obviously, to try to get Hachimura more involved down the stretch of this game. As you mentioned, it's been a pretty quiet second half for him. It's been a lot of Brandon Clark and a lot of Zach Norvell Jr.
Norvell with 13 here in the second half, was scoreless at the break. And Hachimura now 1 for 3 at the foul line as Kyle Alexander comes back with his 4 fouls and 6:46 remaining.
Gotta know how to play with fouls. Gotta be smart. And Hachimura, much talk about how his minutes have increased and how his roles changed over the years. But people forget when he came over, he was taking ESL classes and missing practices multiple times per week. And as he has transitioned in, and by the way, there are also some pretty good players in front of him, but as he's transitioned in, he's been more and more comfortable on the international level. Rui Hachimura had been a player that had garnered a lot of attention for a long time.
That's way out there. Shot that one from Tempe as Admiral Schofield misses. Hachimura to Clark on the alley-oop. Largest lead for Gonzaga.
You force the back line of the defense to step up in the zone, and it leaves an empty space, and Clark was there.
Huge possession for the Bulls.
These type of possessions, he has to get a touch.
Open three in the corner, knocked in. Jordan Bowden for Tennessee.
I mean, how many times do you see that in the game? Your best player gets a touch, you get quick ball reversal action, no dribbles, forcing the defense to have a little bit longer closeouts, and you find a wide open corner three-pointer.
Second three for Bowden. The teardrop missed from Perkins, and the rebound controlled Grant Williams. Jordan Bone on the push. All the way to the basket. The quick dart from Jordan Bone.
Haven't had a lot of good fast break looks for Tennessee, but that all starts with the rebound and then the acceleration.
Rui Hachimura. 19 now for Hachimura. Open three. Knocked in. Another one for Jordan Bowden.
Tennessee has no stopping them. I mean, they're not going to back down in this game. If the lead gets to 8, doesn't matter. The Vols are going to keep playing and doing what they do. They are an experienced, veteran-laden team that wants to prove that it can thrive in moments like this.
Trying to tighten up the D. Rui Hachimura. Too strong on the three. Corey Kispert keeps it alive for the Zags. Four and a half minutes to play. Number 1, 9-0 Gonzaga against number 7, 6-1 Tennessee. Corey Kispert off balance, gets the roll. Tough shot from the sophomore Kispert. at 10. Inside to Grant Williams. And the rebound, Hachimura, but a foul. If it's on Rui, that's his fourth. 3:44 to go, and Rui Hachimura just picked up his fourth foul.
Well, the Gonzaga Bulldogs dump it down in the zone, force two to step to the ball. When you get two, that means one is wide open.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of
68-63. And Sean, we were so excited about this matchup coming in. Two great teams going at it. Has this lived up to your expectations? Is that a dumb question?
Of course it has. I mean, look, these are two teams. We started the broadcast talking about two teams that legitimately can win a national championship. This game is good enough to be a national championship game come the end of the season. It has completely lived up to that so far. I mean, we have seen high-level plays above the rim. Brandon Clark's block. Grant Williams' block. We've seen great unselfishness from the teams. 19 assists on 24 made field goals for Tennessee. Balanced scoring, 4 guys.
Grant Williams off the inbound.
4 guys with 10 points or more for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, and it's a one-possession game with under 4.
In trouble for Mark Few as Rui Hachimura just picked up his 4th foul. Is on the bench right now. Zach Norvell missing, and the rebound, Admiral Schofield. Tennessee, George Bowen will slow it up, 2 on 3.
It didn't have numbers. No need to force it.
For the tie, Schofield. We're tied with 3:15 to go. Season high 22 for Admiral Schofield.
It doesn't get much bigger than this.
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, just scan the sensor with your reader or iPhone and manage your diabetes. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. Ask your doctor to write a prescription for the new Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without fingersticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Admiral Schofield is one of those players that just always seems to be in the right spot. He plays with great emotion. He plays with great effort. He's dove on the floor multiple times during the course of this game, and then in big moments shown his continued improvement from beyond the arc. I mean, his motor doesn't stop. His energy doesn't stop. And this 3 right here tied us up at 68.
22, a season high for Schofield, a career high of 25. He went over 1,000 points a few weeks ago in their win against Louisville. And a tie game with 3:15 to play as Tennessee looking for their 5th all-time win against number 1. And for Rick Barnes, it would be his first.
I mentioned this in the first half. Talking with Schofield and Williams yesterday, he said, we still feel like we're the hunters. You know, we are not the team that everybody is aiming for in our eyes. We don't want to just be a tough team. We want to be a tough program. We want our lineage to last years after we're gone. This is one of those opportunities, one of those games where you can leave your mark.
And a foul will put Brandon Clark at the line. And they called it on Grant Williams, his 4th. And the remaining unbeaten will have Nevada in game 2 against Grand Canyon. But Gonzaga trying to stay on this list and getting a tremendous battle from Tennessee.
I'll be honest with you. I think that was a really bad call.
The foul on Williams?
Yeah. I think I would not call that a foul. I think if there was any contact whatsoever, it was so light it had nothing to do with Clark missing a shot.
Clark hits both. He now has 20.
And now you've got one of the best players on the court with 4 personal fouls down the stretch.
So Williams has 4. Alexander has 4 for Tennessee. Jordan Bowden missing a 3, and Hachimura playing with 4 himself has the rebound.
And that's going to take Grant Williams out of the game.
With 2.5 minutes to play, and he knows that the frustration as he pounded the floor after committing the foul on Clark.
And that's the importance of that previous foul. Obviously, because he's still beating the game, and the reigning SEC player would be there. But you also have to be smart enough in this situation for Grant Williams. You might just want to give up those two to make sure you have an opportunity to get multiple possessions for your team to put them in the right position to try to win this game.
So without Williams, how does Tennessee need to move forward?
Well, it's clearly you're going through Schofield anyways. I mean, he's been the best player on the court as far as offensive scoring prowess. But I think that you're going to rely a little bit more on Jordan Bowden down the stretch.
He's hit some big threes here in the second half as Williams fouls out with 16.
I want the ball touching Schofield's hands on every single possession in the half court. He's got to get a touch. He's got to be involved. He's setting the screen up top. There he is.
That's a deep two from Admiral Schofield.
He's a big shot maker, and he's willing to take the big shots. He's proven that over the course of his career.
One off a career high 25 twice last year. Once against Ole Miss and also against South Carolina. Zach Norvell Jr. missing a deep three, and the long rebound out to Corey Kispert, and a reset for the Zags. Knocked away from Rui Hachimura. E. Pons controls. Tennessee looking for the lead. They led by 1 at the half. Gonzaga, an early spurt to start the second half, has led since.
A lot of sorts on that possession so far.
Got it. Big three for Admiral Schofield. Career high 27 for Schofield. And 5 threes, and he gives Tennessee the lead with 1:09 to go.
And Josh Perkins just tossed the ball to Jordan Bone. The referees did a good job stepping in on it. But Admiral Schofield has put on an absolute show here in Phoenix, Arizona. Watch the defense, being able to defend, slapping the ball away, and then at the other end of the floor, Schofield gets his hands on it. Doesn't matter, NBA line, foot behind that, he's got it. The bench loves it. Schofield plays with such a confidence. As I mentioned, he is a big shot taker and maker for Tennessee.
He got off to a slow start this year also. The first 3 games of the year was only averaging 12 points a game. And he made only 3 threes. He's got 22 of his career high 27 since halftime. He's made 5 threes in this game. And since the first 3, over the last 5 games now, he's averaging over 20 a game, and he has made 15 threes over the last 5.
And the Zags have not made a made field goal in over 3 minutes down the stretch of this game. One of the most proficient offenses. So what does that tell you? It goes back to what we started the game mentioning about Tennessee, their ability to lock down and be a good defensive team. Rick Barnes told you and I, as we spoke to him before this contest, is, hey, our big focus is not worry about the offense. The offense, we're going to get our offense. We've got to continue to be as elite of a defensive team as we possibly can be, because that is our staple. That is what will win us games. That is what's going to carry us down the stretch of the season. It's what's carried them down the stretch of this game.
Balls by 2, 1:09 remaining. There is Schofield with that bank 3 to give Tennessee a 2-point lead. He led by as many as 9 early in this game. And then Gonzaga had a 9-point lead here in the second half. All right, if you're Gonzaga, how do you play this offensively?
I want to set an on-ball screen and try to get Clark going down low in the paint. Post up.
Rui Hachimura, the pull-up. And the rebound. Jordan Bone, and then he gets undercut as Admiral Schofield was laying on the ground and Bone fell over him. As 3 balls were on the floor and Bone gets up hobbling a little bit. Schofield is still down. And it's a Gonzaga ball with a travel called and 49 seconds remaining.
That was an extremely hard fall for Jordan Bone. He's grabbing his right wrist. The shot goes up. Great job by Tennessee getting after it. Bodies falling everywhere on the floor. And it was the right wrist of Jordan Bone, and Admiral Schofield gets taken out by Alexander.
Fresh shot clock for the Zags. Hachimura moves in. And a foul, the fourth on Admiral Schofield. And with 45.8 seconds remaining, Rui Hachimura will shoot two.
The free throw line has not been very kind to the Gonzaga Bulldogs this afternoon.
And a great foul shooting team on the season coming in.
Hachimura came into the game shooting 83% at the free throw line.
Now 20 for Rui. Jeremy Jones checks in for Gonzaga, replacing Corey Kispert. The foul shooting numbers for Gonzaga. Shot 18 free throws to Tennessee's 9. And we are tied with just over 45 seconds to go.
Leave no doubt, Admiral Schofield's got to get his hands on the ball in this possession. They're going to try to isolate him and space it out.
Rick Barnes wants time. And a timeout with 29.5 seconds remaining. 14 to shoot. 73 all. And we go back to Wednesday night, that game at the Kennel, where Gonzaga got all they could handle on their home floor against the Washington Huskies.
You know, Washington Huskies, they play that 2-3 zone. Coach Hopkins brought with him from Syracuse. Rui Hachimura was really the star of the game, the star of stars. And it was a back-and-forth affair, and the Huskies felt like they were going to squeeze one out and be able to find a way to win, and that's not an easy court. You go inside the Kennel and try to win a game, not easy. But you cannot allow Rui Hachimura to catch the ball at the free throw line. That was your game winner, and the Zags stayed undefeated.
Rui Hachimura had 26 in the win over Washington. And the game-winning jumper with 0.6 of a second remaining. Coming up tonight on SportsCenter on ESPN at 11 Eastern. Reaction and analysis post-game from the Sunday night matchup between the Rams and the Bears. A look at this NFL Sunday, especially the Eagles and the Cowboys in the NFC East. And a conversation with Russell Wilson as you look at Admiral Schofield over there, getting looked at his lower back area over at the Tennessee huddle.
They have 14 seconds to go on the shot clock. All right, so if you're Gonzaga, you know you've got to be telling your guys, hey, we got to lock in for 14 seconds, and then we've got to get the rebound. If you've seen anything here in the second half, you know as soon as the shot goes up, Schofield is going to attack it.
Can I be selfish for a second? Can we get 5 more minutes of this game?
I would take 6 overtimes in this game. I mean, this is as good as it gets in college basketball.
Well, Sean McDonough is here, so he was there at that one.
Here's the pass back.
Admiral Schofield, a three! 6 threes for Schofield. And a timeout for Mark Few, 17 seconds remaining. And Admiral Schofield, a career-high 30 points, and he has been enormous for the balls down the stretch.
Just as good as it gets, as good as an individual performance you've seen in college basketball this season because of the stage, the opponent. Admiral Schofield, this just in, Gonzaga, you probably don't want to leave him wide open. Rui Hachimura and Josh Perkins both go with the ball. It creates a longer run out for Hachimura. Poor communication that time by the Zags. Leave the space and allow Admiral Schofield to get his feet set and knock it down.
So for Mark Few and Gonzaga, they're out of timeouts now. Down 3, 17 seconds to go. How do you play this offensively?
There's 2 ways to go here. One, you're going to look to get in down low quick, get something going to the rim, and get to the free throw line, and then foul immediately and try to elongate this game. The other option that you have is when you have a player like Norvell out on the floor, maybe you involve him in a screening action that forces the defense to step just like we saw with Schofield at this end and free up Norvell to take the shot.
Tennessee looking for their first win over a #1 since January of 2010. Here's Kispert. Norvell, deep 3. And a rebound. Alexander for Tennessee and a foul with 7.2 remaining.
They did exactly what I thought they would. They got Norvell on the screen on that side. He slipped out. But the defense of Tennessee, they stayed attached. They communicated superbly through this possession. Look at the way that they're rotating. Look at how there's no space, how attached they are, where they are in the help side position. That is textbook defense by the Tennessee Volunteers. They did not give a clean look at all for Gonzaga.
Kyle Alexander at the line. 7.2 remaining, and a 30 taken by Tennessee. It's a 1-and-1 as the 17th foul against Gonzaga. And Alexander, a terrific foul shooter on the year, 78%, and a 1-and-1 to possibly put the game away for Tennessee. So a chance to beat #1 for the Vols. And there are their 4 all-time wins against the top-ranked team in the country. And for Rick Barnes, this would be the first time he has ever beaten a top-ranked team.
Tremendous. And you look at Tennessee, a rich basketball tradition. I've done a ton of games in Knoxville over the last 4 years. I mean, that place is one of the best environments in the country when it's rocking. And they've been out supporting this team from jump. And what Rick Barnes has done in building this program and getting it to the level in which it is now, without the sizzle and pop, without the flash, right? But it is all about substance, and that substance is permeated through its leadership. And its leadership comes from Admiral Schofield and Grant Williams. Grant Williams is on the bench talking and positioning pawns on the floor right now.
A 1-and-1. Alexander misses. Do you foul if you're Tennessee?
Yes.
Hachimura way off on the 3. And it is over. And #1 goes down here in Phoenix. Tennessee behind Admiral Schofield comes back to knock off the unbeaten Zags 76-73.
What a win for the Tennessee Volunteers. Admiral Schofield is in the crowd. You think this means something? You think this means something to this program? The SEC has had itself a Sunday. Alabama knocked off Arizona. Admiral Schofield willed his team to a victory in the second half of this game and made a huge statement for the Tennessee Volunteers. There is no question who the player of the game was. The emotion of Admiral Schofield, the back and forth between Zach Norvell Jr. That's what high-level basketball is about. That's what playing championship-level basketball is about.
25 of his career-high 30 points coming in the second half. And this was the final sequence and last hope for Gonzaga.
The last 2 possessions, neither one of them really good looks for the Zags, and you have to credit Tennessee, their defense.